Hey Vegas, I'm Emily Connor Cooper, and welcome to Legends and Laughs, where laughter is always on the menu and the stories are bigger than life itself.
Now, I know a thing or two about show business. You could say it's in my blood. I was born and raised in Texas, found my way to New York City to study at NYU, and I landed a job as a producer with CBS, NBC, and Broadway. And well, life became a lot more interesting when I met Pat Cooper at the Friars Club. From the hustle and bustle of New York City to the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas, I've had the privilege of being surrounded by some of the funniest and most talented people in the world. And today, you'll hear from people who knew Pat, who Pat knew, and in ways you won't hear anywhere else.
So sit back and relax and get ready to hear some stories that'll make you laugh, cry, and maybe even scratch your head a little. This is Legends and Laughs, where the humor never stops and the legends never fade. Hey Vegas, I'm Emily Connor Cooper, and welcome to Legends and Laughs. Today our guest is a very special performer, and she's been performing for over 50 years, including right next to Dean Martin, along with the Gold Diggers. And she's also a Texan from my hometown of Houston, Texas, Miss Marilyn Faye O'Leary. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. What a joy to meet another Texan.
It's always fun to meet Texans, isn't it? In other places?
Sure.
You lived in the epitome of the glamour, glory days of Las Vegas, which we love to talk about. So everybody wants to hear about the Gold Diggers. So can we just start with that a little bit?
Previous to coming to Las Vegas, I was working as a receptionist. And so I was at home one afternoon or evening, and my mother said, "Marilyn, the Dean Martin show's on." And I thought, well, that's nice. And I walked past the television set, and there was a girl that had graduated a year ahead of me, Susan Lund. And I said, oh my God, I can't believe my eyes. She's on national television, wow. And I thought, well, she can do it. Why can't I do it? And so then they were auditioning for the Dean Martin show. And of all places, in the dance studio belonging to Patrick Swayze's mother.
In
Patsy.
Houston.
In Houston, North Houston, actually, yeah. And so after work, I drove out there, and I just met about 300 other girls, and I thought, well, this is going to be real interesting. And so I didn't know what to sing. At the time, I was really very much into opera, and that's my training. It's classical singing, but I do Broadway show tunes and Celine and, you know, the more familiar things now. Anyway, so I walked in the door, and there were all those girls, and there was Jonathan Lucas and Lee Hale, a music director. And I just took a deep breath, and I said, here it goes. So I decided to sing not opera, not Broadway, but Jim Webb's one-time hit, Didn't We Almost Make It This Time?
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Jimmy Webb and his wife are some of my best friends.
Are you serious?
Yes. Didn't We is one of his greatest hits. Everybody recorded it, but that's the song you picked. Wow.
I went out and bought the sheet music, and I handed it to the pianist, and I said, follow me. So he did.
And you made it.
I did.
We have a great photo of you with the girls. That's you in the photo behind Dean.
Behind Dean.
Right there behind Dean.
Now, I was a brunette in my other life. So I decided to go blonde some years later, but yeah, I was originally a brunette.
That must have been such a fun show. And I know Tommy Tune, did he do the choreography?
Mm-hmm, he sure did. Well, he and Jonathan Lucas together.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy was with us on tour. See, when I arrived at the studio, well, after the audition, there were 5 girls were called. I was one of the 5. Everyone else was told to leave. And so they said, we'll get in touch. We'll let you know. So I left, and I thought, we'll see. Sure enough, about 2 weeks later, the phone rang, and it was Janet Ty, Greg's assistant producer. And she said, Marilyn, we want you to come to Burbank, California. We're going to put you in front of the camera, and we'll go from there. And I said, alrighty then. So my mother and I hopped on a plane, and took off for Burbank, and they put me in front of the camera in not a whole lot of clothes, just in a dance leotard, you know, and had me turn different ways and smile and all of that. And Greg Garrison said, all right, he said, listen, how would you like to be a gold digger? And I said, absolutely, I'd love to do it. Thank you.
Who doesn't want to be a gold digger?
No, that was a bit, in the good sense of the word.
Right.
Anyway, so with that, I think we did probably about 6 or 8 tapings, videos, one of which was Frank Sinatra. Oh, God, that was so exciting. And Dom DeLuise was there, and oh, Jimmy Stewart. Oh, my God, what an angel. We were downstairs in the lower level where they had the pianos to rehearse the music before we went on the air. And Jimmy Stewart was down there sitting at the grand piano. And I walked in and I thought, I just was mesmerized. This is really Jimmy Stewart. And I said, hello, Mr. Stewart, how are you tonight? He said, I'm fine. I said, I'm one of the gold diggers. And we talked for a few minutes until everybody came down and started rehearsing. And he said, well, I guess I should leave. And I said, no, you stay right there. Stay right there. Don't go. And he stayed and heard us rehearse. And he was just such a gentleman. What a sweet
He's
guy.
one of the famous people I share a birthday with, actually.
Is that right?
But what talent, just, you know, a legendary
from the word
Hollywood
go.
guy. Yeah.
Tremendous.
And then, so Bob Hope, you toured with Bob Hope in the USO, right? Shortly
I
after
did.
that?
Mm-hmm. After all the tapings,
Mm-hmm.
we took off. Yeah. We were all in the studio, and everybody was getting inoculated in both arms. One of the girls fainted. Janet Whitby, she just went out cold.
Wow.
But boy, did our arms, oh gosh, they hurt. Anyway, so 3 days later, we took off on a C-130, and they had photographers and videographers out there. And guess what? I was standing in the entrance of the C-130, and there was Jack Benny, Bob Hope, Dolores, Johnny Bench, myself, and one other gold digger. The picture arrived, and it showed up on the front page of the Houston Chronicle. Marge Crumbaker, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And then she called, she had to interview me, and I was like, I can't believe this. It's the front page of the Houston Chronicle. What an honor. What an honor. Anyway.
How was Bob Hope?
He was the sweetest thing in the world. We were passing over Ireland. He said, Miss O'Leary, on the intercom, come to the cockpit. And I thought, oh, gosh, well, now what? No, God. And Bob said, well, we were just flying over Ireland, and you need to say hello to your ancestors. And I went, Shúlan Begorry, I'm an Irish gold digger, whatever. And we had such a great time. And Bob and I we just had so much in common. He was always spot on. You couldn't do anything wrong. You know, we'd be on either side of him. He'd be in the center, or there are pictures that show that we're lined up next to him, and we're showing him how to do the kick, you know, for the line, chorus line kind of thing. This was on tour. We were stationed we stayed at the Erewhon Hotel in Bangkok, Thailand. It was a beautiful hotel. Just don't drink the water. One of the girls drank the water. Yeah.
Oh,
She was deathly ill for about 3 days. She got through it, though.
wow.
Yeah.
That must have been quite an experience.
It really was. It was just remarkable. Going by Chinook from one base to the other, no matter what the weather. And I thought, this is incredible. It was really, some of the bases, it was really hot. And then in other areas, it was just frigid. And they had like these fur coats on the girls backstage. And the minute the cue came up, the coats came off, and we were out there in these little outfits. Not much to them, actually. And but you know what? The show must go on. Oh, well, never mind.
Well, speaking of shows, you really are a true Vegas showgirl. And if I'm correct, you performed from, 1975 to 1982 in the Hallelujah Hollywood.
Well, it was actually 78.
78? Okay.
78. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was contracted for Jubilee. Don Arden and Fluff Lacoe hired me for Jubilee, and we were in rehearsals, And it was just by the grace of God that we were not in the theater the day of the fire, which started in the deli. And everything was in lockdown. Had we been in the showroom, I don't think we could have survived.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of people did die then, right?
80 people lost their lives in that fire.
Wow.
But I had already signed a contract for Jubilee. But the thing was, nobody knew, with the lawsuits going right and left, nobody knew what was going to happen to the MGM. Never mind Jubilee. So I lived on the corner of Flamingo and Algonquin in a little one-bedroom apartment, and how convenient is that, right? And so I thought, well, I better do something. So I sold makeup at Diamonds in the mall there for a few months until I could get everything together. No one still could tell us when the hotel would be open, because there was so much carnage and damage, you know.
Pat performed there a lot during that time.
Oh, really?
With Sergio Franchi and actually the Carpenters he opened for.
Is that right?
And he told me about the fire. He also told me that Jilly Rizzo, you know, Frank Sinatra's #1 guy, right, his right-hand man, came to him with this brilliant idea of an invention for parachutes to hand out to all of the guests at the hotel going forward. Yeah, he wanted Pat to invest in his company, and yeah, that people were going to jump out of the windows in parachutes if that ever happened again. He used to kind of laugh about that, but it was quite a tragedy, and
Truly.
I can't imagine what it was like living through that and working there at the time.
You know, the Hallelujah Hollywood, the sets had already been shipped to New Jersey. And that was one of my alternatives, to move to New Jersey and continue on in Hallelujah. And I thought, no, I don't
Well, that was a really big deal, that show.
Yes, it was.
That was a major production.
Oh, the sets were beautiful. Oh, my God. So they were saved because they had been sent on to New Jersey. But all of the sets for Jubilee were completely destroyed.
Wow.
Costumes, everything. We lost one of the ladies that were responsible for some of the costuming. She died in the elevator. They found her in the elevator. It was really
wow.
sad, so sad. So with that, I thought, now what do I do? So since I didn't know when the hotel would be up and running again, I decided to just pack up my car and drive back to Houston, and I did. I sang at the Great Caruso for, I don't know, a year or two, or something like that, and then all of a sudden I heard about the auditions for the national tour of Showboat. I thought, that would be incredible. So I drove down to the Houston Grand Opera, and for John DeMaine, I sang Love Is Where You Find It. And he said, okay, we'll let you know. And I thought, terrific, here we go. So went back home, and the phone rang about 3-4 days later. It was John DeMaine. He said, you're hired. We're going to put you on the plane for New York to rehearse the National Tour of Showboat with Donald O'Connor. And
wow.
I was like, huh. That was an equity tour, which meant a really good salary for 9 months, really fabulous money. And so in the meantime, I had met my husband while singing at the Great Caruso. And I called him and I said, well, I'm in Baltimore at the Lyric Opera. And he came down there, and I introduced him to Don. And because of the time, they went from Baltimore to the Kennedy Center. That was the next stop. And I told Don and the producer, I said, listen, it's time for me to get married. I said, I'd like a family, and I think it's time. So I left the tour, left him in Baltimore, and married Terry, and then Patrick came along, and and I continued. I did 2 different dinner theaters of Showboat and also The Sound of Music.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, Magnolia and Showboat, and Mother Abbess and The Sound of Music. Because of my training, the legitimate voice that I have. Anyway, so, it just, later on, Patrick got older, and I thought, I'm still going to sing. I'm going to keep singing. And my marriage was not real healthy at that time. And so I just thought, that's it. So ended the marriage, and I thought, well, now I'm free. I can, raise my little boy and go sing. And
you have quite an impressive resume with your singing and your different engagements that you've done for the last 20 years.
That's right. Yeah. I've been very blessed.
And you were also named Miss Senior Nevada in 2010, right? Those are
we were in Baltimore. Well, I was in Baltimore, and then a few years after my divorce, I met Ken, who was the love of my life. He was tremendous. And I told him, I said, honey, I saw Jubilee, they were interviewing some of the performers, and I got the bug again. I said, can we please go to Vegas? I said, I'm over the snow and the rain and the bugs. Can we go to Vegas? He said, of course. So we packed everything up and came out here in 2017? 2007. 2007.
So it was almost 20 years ago, right?
Yeah. And shortly thereafter, I had a gathering with the Gold Diggers out in Henderson somewhere, one of the homes. And then the Miss Senior Nevada pageant came up, and I thought, well, why not? So I went in, and I sang in Italian the drinking song from La Traviata. And they must have liked it because I won the crown and the talent.
Wow.
Yeah. That was tremendous. What an honor,
Well, you're very glamorous and you're very talented.
Thank
I'm
you.
not surprised you won that.
Thank you.
And didn't Dina Martin do a Dina Martin in the Gold Diggers?
Here.
She was here. I'm so sorry I missed that. That was in 2017. That's just before Pat and I came out here. Or he came back.
That's right. Yes, and I think there were 8 of us or 9 of us, and we had our gold lame outfits on. And out there doing our thing, and Dina was wonderful. She was so sweet.
Oh, she is. I know her. She's so lovely, and she's
really
an upper. I always tell people she's just such a positive, fun.
Truly.
She does her fun little thing on Facebook on Fridays. Her little
really?
show. Yeah. Yeah, but you really have a very impressive career, and
Thank you.
So you've lived here for almost 20 years. But I'm jealous because you really lived in the golden era of Las Vegas. I just wish
when I saw the interviews of all the kids in Jubilee, I just got very homesick, and my son was old enough that I could, he was with his father, back and forth. We had joint custody, and I thought, I told Ken, I said, this is such a great opportunity. I miss Vegas so much, and he said, well, sweetheart, let's just pack up and go.
Well, I know that you lost Ken 2 years ago.
I did.
Not quite 10. I'm sorry about that.
COVID
Really? COVID
attacked his heart, and
Wow.
there was no recovery for him.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah. I lost
But
Pat
he's-
2 years
yeah,
ago.
yeah.
It's hard.
It is. I know he's with me, though. I can feel his spirit. It's here. It's very real. I sent you a picture of him as well.
Yes, we have a photo.
Yeah.
We're going to show that photo now
Oh.
of Ken. What do
My
you have
angel.
going on now?
I'm coaching with one of the entertainers at the Composers Room.
Oh,
Just
nice.
trying to get in the niche of the more popular music. Opera, unfortunately, has not flourished. It did on the East Coast, but not out here. And I thought, well, fortunately, I don't have to sing just opera. I can sing pretty much anything I want. I specialize in the national anthem. Did you see that on
Yes,
YouTube?
I did.
Anyway, and I'm as far as the patriots are concerned, the veterans, I'm there. All they have to do is call me. I don't ask for a dime.
That's great.
So I work with them, and I just, whatever comes up, I have a lot of wonderful friends out here, dear, sweet friends that I adore. One of the showgirls in Hallelujah, her sister lives here now,
Oh.
and she and I are very close friends. Her name is Dana.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have another Dana, and she's a singer, and she's at the Composers Room. And I sang there a couple of times, just as her guest. So whatever comes along, I'm available now. You know, I have one of my 2 little Shih Tzu puppies left. She's 16, and she's kind of blind and just kind of waiting, you know, for her time. I don't want to put her down. I hope I don't have to. Her sister, I did. She was in bad shape.
But you like living in Vegas,
I
right?
love it.
Even though it's changed so much.
I miss what it was. When I was here, it was totally different. 15 was a 2-lane highway. To give you, well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss the old days, but I have to tell you, I met some wonderful people, and I wish the traffic wasn't so incredibly chaotic,
Yeah.
but it is. And they're building on every corner, at least out in my area.
Every town is changing. You know, Houston, forget it.
Yeah.
And the weather there is not
it's
desirable.
horrible.
Yeah.
You know, I dreaded going home to see my mother and father. I just dreaded it. But it seemed like every time I flew to Houston, I came down with a sore throat or a sinus infection.
Mm-hmm.
It's that weather.
And the humidity.
That's why I love Vegas. Yes, it's hot and it's dry. But for those of us who have issues, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
I love the weather out here.
And I do too. We have our, you know, hot months, but that's the worst of it.
That's it.
Yeah.
In another month or so, August, September, it'll be beautiful.
Yeah. But it's glamorous now in a different way. But people like you are, you know, gold mines as far as I'm concerned, no pun intended. But you've got
That's a
great
compliment,
stories.
thank
And who are some of your favorite, besides Jimmy Stewart, favorite celebrities and people in the business who you met over the years? Because I'm sure you've met a lot.
Oh, well, Dom DeLuise and Ruth Buzzy, when I was
Yeah.
filming The Gold Diggers, they were wonderful.
Yep, we've got there's a shot of during the one of the flash floods that was in '76.
Mhm.
There was, when Andy Williams was playing at Caesar's Palace,
Mhm.
Ruth Buzzy was playing across the street at MGM. Yeah,
Was she really? Oh, my gosh.
I know that from a photo. We can probably find it. But yeah, and you see the cars all upside down in front of at Caesar's Palace, right?
I know. I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah, I noticed that she was on that marquee then at that time.
Bless
Mhm.
her heart.
Yeah,
Well,
she was
that's-
another Texan. She died in Texas.
I didn't know that.
I don't know that she was from Texas, but that's where she lived, right outside of Dallas on a ranch.
Oh, my goodness. I had no idea.
Yep.
Bless her heart.
And she
Oh.
was a nice woman and so funny. Genius from Laugh-In. All those geniuses
yeah.
were on Laugh-In.
Oh, sure. Some of the Dean Martin roasts she's on, and she's just hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
She comes out with a bag and the net on her head, the hair net, you know.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I met a lot of people. I'm trying to think now.
Did you have much interaction with Dean?
You know, he was very shy.
Yeah.
He was incredibly shy. I think he was dating someone at that time. I think that was after his divorce, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But she was an airline stewardess, I think. The girl said, I don't know. But no, he just came in and cue cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was on and he was off. But he was always very
No,
gracious.
I'm really thrilled with all the photos you brought, because that's what the old Vegas is all about. The showgirls and the color and the glamour.
That's right,
And you're a special lady. And of course, you're from Texas. So in my eyes, you're extra special for sure. And I'm glad we're friends
Well, I'm
now.
glad we found each
Yeah,
other.
right?
Yeah,
Took a while,
for
but we
sure.
found each other for sure.
Mhm.
Well, listen, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. And I can't wait to
pleasure.
see you again. And we'll be hanging out, you know. We'll go to
Good.
dinner one night
Well,
at the Italian American Club. Or,
there you go.
Yeah,
And
we'll
more.
do that. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for
Thank
being
you,
here with us,
sweetheart.
dear. All right.
Bless you.
All right. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time on Legends and Laughs, and you can be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Legends and Laughs. We'll see you next time.